Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The first station that we have to cross to reach the Absolute is freedom from body identification. Unless this is achieved, anything we may do. It is right like writing Ram Nam on the flowing Ganges waters by a stick and complaining, I am writing so much Ram Nam, but nowhere it is seen. On the waters you cannot write the Ram Nam with a stick. In the same manner, if we get this point across, we have done a great favor to ourselves. It is something like this. We complain that whenever I sit for meditation, there are too many thoughts. So, when we go and ask the teacher or any Mahatma, our questions are not inquiry oriented. Our questions are complaint oriented. We complain. Whenever I sit for meditation, there are too many thoughts, complain. So what should I do then? Whose thoughts? In my mind or your mind? Of course, Swamiji, it is in my mind. Then you should know where from they come. Be attentive. Instead of complaining, find out to whom the thoughts come. Now, about this we will do an experiment right away. And from that experiment, what we have learned, that also we will analyze right away. Meditation is living 24/7 in absolute present. Absolute present without the past and the future is equal to presence. It is this that we have to live. So first experiment. As you are sitting, see, don't change your postures. You are perfectly all right. 2. Close your eyes softly. Now, become husband or wife and watch that you are husband or wife. Then what type of thoughts are coming? Stop. Second experiment. Become parents or children. And see what type of thoughts are coming. Now, third and the last experiment. Remain as Mr. Nobody. And see, thoughts have come at all. Stop. Open your eyes and ears and let us analyze these 3 experiments. First, when we became husband or wife, The thoughts were pertaining to wife or husband respectively. When we became parents or children, the thoughts were pertaining to children or parents. When we remained as Mr. Nobody, no thoughts. The seed for thoughts is Mr. Somebody. See, friends. So when we sit for meditation, what should be the psychological adjustments? Again, next experiment. Close your eyes. You are cheerful and happy. You are here by your own choice. Nobody has compelled you. Second step. Our beloved Lord and beloved God is in our heart. The God protects us from within. The Guru guides us from within. We are not alone. We are care of them. Third adjustment. Let us take the position of being Mr. Nobody. Nobody means who? He who doesn't have any past is nobody. So by taking the position of Mr. Nobody, we have closed the total past. Next adjustment. We don't plan what we will do after meditation. By this, we have closed the future. Now we are in utter present. Because we are nobody, no thoughts, no worries. Now, do not concentrate on anything. Simply remain aware that breathing is happening. Breathing is not done. At this stage, your body weight will start increasing and felt on the base. This is because the mind is giving up the shape of the body. When the shape of the body becomes hazy, non-distinct, without any well-defined contour line, as it is happening now. The concept of inside the body or outside the body becomes redundant. The breathing is becoming slow and shallow. We are not concentrating on anything. Because the body shape and form has almost disappeared from the mind. Therefore, there cannot be any pressure anywhere inside the body felt by us. Now our experience is formless, beginningless, endless, expanse like the space. Take a deep breath once or twice. See, the body shape has again come back in the mind. Move your toes and fingers. Body identification is complete. Now open your eyes and ears and let us understand what exactly has happened. Our scriptures want us to progress spiritually. But normally our attempt in life is, we only complain. And because we only complain, we are in the form of asking questions. Now please go. And our questions are, I don't know why I am the only one who gets all the miseries in life. I don't know why only I fail in whatever I do. So we go to the teacher, Mahatmas. Now the Mahatmas have to help us. So what they say, look here my dear child, all the miseries that you have in your life, they are because of your bad karma in the last life. Okay. Now you cannot undo. So, conclusion is, you are, reduce the volume, still make it less. Now everybody can hear? Good. So, the teacher says, you cannot undo your past. Then, be responsible for all the good and bad that is happening in your life because you have done the wrong karma. Be attentive, it's a very subtle thought. But now what can I do? Yes, now behave properly with your spouse. If you do not behave properly with your spouse, in the next life again she will be your wife or husband. So do you want to suffer again? No. Then behave properly. Be attentive. Now see the total effect. Total effect is, now that person will stop blaming others for his miseries and he will start living a proper life. When this happens, he has conquered one step. The one step is stop complaining. Stop complaining. A seeker should never complain. See? Now when we stop complaining, then we can start thinking. A person who complains, he doesn't think. Then we start thinking. So how many times I have to do this thing? Again we go to the teacher. And the teacher tells us, look here, the purpose of telling you that last life bad karma, this life suffering, this life bad karma, next life suffering, this is not the purpose. See, when some stories are told, what is the moral of the story? That is important. If we don't know the moral of the story, then we are not qualified to listen. We must know the moral of the story. So what is the moral of the story? Moral of the story is, we existed before this body was born. Therefore we did good or bad karma. By this body we have not done good and bad karma in the past. In this body we are existing, doing good and bad karma. The karma phala, the result of that, we will be enjoying or suffering in the next life. Meaning, when this body is dropped, we continue to exist, is it not? So, what should be our understanding? Number one, we are a continuous, unbroken existence. Never we were born, nor do we die. This is the meaning. If we follow the law of karma, and if we are afraid of death, we have understood nothing. See, friends, I saw one movie in USA. That was the day it was released. In Miami, I think I saw. The name of the movie is RIPD, Rest in Peace Department. And I was leaving the cinema aspect aside. What I like most in that movie is this I am telling you. There are two police officers. They go for some work on a very tall building. for 30, 40 stories. And there is exchange of bitterness between the two officers. And one officer shoots the other officer. And he falls down from the top right on the ground. When he falls down, what we expect, he will die. But he doesn't die, he gets up. And all the things around him, they are frozen. Then the movie goes long way. At the end, his wife also is shot dead by somebody. She also dies. That time, everything around is frozen. And these two dead ones start living together. See how beautiful it is. Because we don't die. Do we have the experience of our birth? Nobody has. Do we have the experience of our growth? We are growing. Nobody knows that. That is why many elderly people say, one person in Calcutta came and asked me this question. In the morning, I was sitting somewhere, morning time, near a lake. One shorty with a short jogging pant and a small cap, he came unknown to me, and he comes and asks me, tell me, what is my age? To an unknown person in the morning asking this question. So I looked at him, I said 3 years. Because such a question cannot be asked by a grown-up person. No, tell really, what is my age? I said, you are 18 years old. I know you will say like this. I said, no, I have not completed. You are actually 81 years young. Yes, I never feel that I am old. Friends, nobody ever experiences he is growing. Think. So, we have neither the experience of birth, nor the experience of growth, nor do we have the experience of death. Think. Then who dies? Living in this wisdom is living in meditation. See, friends, presently, when we are living as the body, what is the canvas on which we are painting the picture of life? The canvas has got two limits, womb and the tomb. But what scriptures tell? You are not limited by womb and the tomb. Before you entered the womb, you were there. After you drop the body, you continue to be there. So who dies? See, friends, therefore, we are not because of the body. The body is because of us. See? I am not because of the clothes. The clothes are because of me. Clothes are not walking. I am walking. Think. When we come to this point, then we take the second step in life. See, this is what is said, Kastvam koham kutamayataha kame janani kome tataha iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam. See, friends. But mechanically living life without even 1 minute pause. See, there are many techniques by which without effort we dissolve into the absolute like the ice cube dissolves in the waters. Ice cube is also water and water is also water. What is the difference between the two? Ice cube has a personality. See, you take out all the ice cubes from your tray in a fridge, take them out and try to put them in a jar. Every ice cube has his own personality. See? They have got their own individuality. And when you don't do anything, just let them be. And when their personality dissolves, do they disappear? Do they disappear? Yes and no. They disappear as persons, as individuals, but continue to exist as what they essentially were. Mind is like the ice cube. Absolute conscious blissful existence is like the waters. See? So the first step is get rid of this body identification. Yesterday we have seen, to practice this freedom from body identification, there are many things which can be done. Few are very simple, anybody can do it. Possessions and relations, how they are built up. See, there are three I's. One is the real I, Mukhyatma. Second is the illusory I, Mithyatma. Third is the secondary I, Gaunatma. Three. Mukhyatma is what we essentially are. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Vedanitam Guhayam. That is Mukhyatma. It's common for everything and being. Mukhyatma. Then when we get identified with our gross body, that is the Mithyatma. It is not real Atma. After we get identified with the gross body, then the secondary Atmas are born. I am husband, I am wife, I am brother, I am father, I am mother, I am sister, I am blah 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 blah. Be attentive. And who is miserable? It is the wife, husband, brother, mother, father, sister. They are miserable. And who are they? They are secondary. Secondary means they do not exist at all. See, I'll give you one example. Please take my examples in the light of wisdom. Don't get carried away by the words. The idea is to communicate. I have no ill feeling for anybody or anything. I just request you to please understand this. Then this point will become clear. This happened in Germany. I was having some retreat. On the second day of the retreat, one elderly German lady came and asked me, Swamiji, I am feeling so relaxed and I really know where I had gone in my life. Had you come in my life 25 years before? I said, Mama, even then I would not have married you. She said, no, not that. Then I would not have divorced 3 times. I said, okay, now over is over. Now my question is, when you got married first time, you were W1, wife 1, and your husband was H1. So what was the couple? W1, H1. Then you separated. You got married again. W2, H2. Yes. Again third time, W3, H3. Yes. Now my question is, W1 is equal to W2 is equal to W3 is equal to what? Where that first wife has gone? Where the second wife has gone? Where the third wife has gone? And has she ever gone anywhere? Can you show her? But who was miserable? The wife was miserable. And who is wife? Who never existed. Think, friends. All our tragedies and miseries are because this Gaunatma, this secondary I, this we take as the real I. Upanishad very clearly tells, in the deep sleep experience, we are neither mother, nor father, nor brother, nor sister, nor husband, nor wife. Now the question is, where all these paraphernalia go? It can go somewhere if it exists. Then what are they? They are virtual realities. See? I was doing some work on my laptop. So I lifted, the weight was 1 kilogram of my laptop. It's very light. Then I did lot of work, lot of editing of my talks. So much of data added, about 40 GB data added. Then when I added 40 GB data, I lifted, oh, it's very heavy. Why? Additional 50 GB data. And I said, now what I should do? Let me delete it. And then I deleted that 50 GB. Now it is light. Does it happen? Think, friends. So what is that data? Because be attentive. Because something is useful. Something is experienced. That does not mean it exists. Longitudes and latitudes on the globe, they are useful, is it not? In pinpointing anything in the world, they are useful. But are they real? Think. Because something is useful, relations are useful, but they are not real. See, possessions are useful, but they are not real. But that which is not real, when we take it as a real, then the samsara begins. See, friends. And what is the culprit? The culprit is body identification. Neither the body nor the world, but identification. See, one small girl, 5-6 years, I was in their house for breakfast. She came. Swamiji, I have got a question. Children never ask this way. I knew she must have been taught by somebody elderly person. And I said, yes, what is your question? Swamiji, when the world was created and how the world begins? I asked, hey, you are so sweet. Who asked you to ask this question? Mummy. She is very simple. You know, such a stupid question can never be asked by a child. Then I told her mother, I said, Mama, why don't you ask me directly? Swamiji, I am afraid of you. You bang sometimes such a way that I get confused. I said, listen, simple thing. The moment we are identified with the body, that moment this world is created. Where from the world begins? The world begins from our gross body. Think. If we are not identified with our gross body, this world doesn't exist. Like when we go and sleep at night, snoring away, deep sleep, that time, whether we are in Puttaparthi or Bengaluru or Chennai, where are we? Number one. When are we? 2014, 1947. What are we? Man, woman, young, old. None of them hold good because we are not identified with the body. See, friends, therefore, the first step in knowing the truth, you and I are one. Ocean can say to all the waves, you plural, I singular. All the plural waves are included in the singular I, the ocean. Be attentive. Ocean can become waves. The wave can never become the ocean. The wave will disappear in the ocean. And therefore, when Baba says, you and I are one, what does it mean? It means I alone is the reality, you is an illusion. This is the meaning. Be attentive. Take your own body. Hands are not the head. Head is not the stomach. Stomach is not the feet. They are different from each other. But do we differentiate because of the differences? When I get something stuck between my teeth, so what do? The tongue goes and starts digging. And when it comes out, will the teeth say, thank you darling, you are always useful. Next time it happens, while taking food, suddenly the tongue gets bitten by the teeth. Will the tongue say, now we have to go to the dentist, I am going to remove you? No. Because although there are differences, there is no differentiation. And therefore, neither the tongue tells the teeth that I love you, nor the teeth tell the tongue I love you. Because their love is not done as a verb, their love exists as an experience. See, friends, exactly the same way. Our love with others is an effort. Therefore, we get tired. His love for us is not effort. Because for him, you and I is one. For us, no. How it can be? Papoham papa karma. Suffer. See, friends, he has never called us. We are sinners. But we don't want to give up our stand. See, friends, therefore, the first step on the spiritual path is freedom from body identification. Unless this is accepted, we cannot enter the next class. It will be only theoretical, argumentative. It will only lead us to be erudite scholarship, but no experience. See? Therefore, what should be our spiritual practice to attain freedom from body identification? Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Shatrau mitre putre bandhau ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhau. Do not create friends and enemies in this world. See? Don't create unwanted relations. See? I am a sannyasi. In the sannyasa diksha, we perform our own shraddha. There is a Viraja home. In that, after one of the rituals is, we have that pinda danam prakriya complete. We have the rice pinda made and all the mantras are chanted, and ultimately we give pinda dan to ourselves. That means I am dead. For all practical purposes, a sannyasi is a dead one. Don't touch. Keep away. See, friends. So once this body disidentification is understood, then we have no relations with the dead. But in spite of that, after taking to this ashram, sannyas ashram, you will come across sannyasis calling each other. He is my Guru Bandhu, he is my Dada Guru, he is my Chacha Guru, he is my Mama Guru, Ram, 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 Ram. All relations are only with reference to the body. See, friends. And when this is to be practiced, first, don't create relation. Second thing is very beautifully important. All that we talk to others is necessarily about our past. This I learned once I was traveling from Delhi to Bombay, many years before. I was pretty young that time. And I was in the first class compartment, and one elderly man, politician type, with all starched clothes and all that, huge body, he landed right in front of this, next berth. He said, "Oh, you are here, I am so happy now. Up to Delhi means 18 hours. I said, "My God, he is going to take away my brain." So like the terrorists have the gun or pistol with them, I always carry a rosary with me. So when he was going to attack me on questions, I said, "Excuse me, when I travel, I chant Lord's name. Please don't mind. Because that is my rule. But you can talk, I have no objection. If you want to make any old man happy, ask that person to talk about his past, but don't listen." Because old people like me, there is no future. Only past. Where is the future? So I followed that technique. And then he started. My grandfather used to be in Kabul. That means I had to listen 3 generations. And then this happened, that happened. Then my father was born and they shifted to Peshawar. They came to Pakistan. Then in Peshawar they started some Pesha means some business, but they failed. Then they came to Karachi. In Karachi also there was a Roids and they shifted to Ranchi. Ranchi is the mental hospital. So they reached the Ranchi. And in Ranchi also they were a total failure. Therefore they shifted to USA. USA is Ulhasnagar Sindhi Association. They shifted to USA. And then my children were born and all that, and my children told me that I have got a lot of cough and cold because of the humid weather. I should go to Delhi. And the moment I used to see sometime his spirit was going down, I used to say, "Really? Then what happened?" Again he's inspired. Again start. They had to keep him pumping, And ultimately he said, then my children told, "Papa, you go by this train, we have made arrangement, somebody will come and pick you up." Okay, then I came here, very good. Then what happened? Then I met you, then what happened? Then you asked me to talk about myself, then what happened? The moment you come in the utter present, you have nothing to talk. This is spiritual practice. It's very important, friends. Our childhood belongs to the body, not to us. Teenage belongs to the body, not to us. Birth belongs to the body, not to us. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra belong to body, not to us. Hindu, Muslim, Christian belongs to body, not to us. So if we want to really attain freedom from body identification, this is one important practice. Never talk about your past. And when we don't talk about our past, we are not interested in anybody's past. But we standard Indians, anybody we meet, we write down Kundali. When you were born, why you were born, why don't you die? Arey, no need. This is how body identification becomes very firm. And as the body identification starts becoming less and less, then there cannot be any thoughts pertaining to the world. See, then the question comes, who am I? Once in one of the IITs, after my lecture was over, one youngster, first year student, second year student, he got up, he said, Swamiji, yes sir, who am I? So I asked him, should I tell you the truth or bluff? He said, for a change, tell the truth. Then I told him, you are a fool of the highest order. He said, do you mean Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was a fool? I said, no. But he asked this question. He didn't ask this question to me. I am replying to you. I am not replying to him. Then I told him, my dear friend, when I accept myself to be the body, this question cannot happen. I know I am a man, I am woman, I am young, I am old, I am rich, I am poor, I am Indian, I am American. Where is the question? Question can come only if we accept even theoretically that I is not the body. Then this question comes. Without this who am I question is meaningless. See friends, therefore this body which is created by our parents, we are not created. Our body doesn't listen to us. You must have seen, there are some bodies, they are the Agarbatti brand. Even if they eat the live buffalo, they continue to be thin. On contrary to that, there are other bodies. They are round table conference. Even if when they look at the picture of ice cream, they put on 5 kilos. No. See? So the body is not created by us. The body doesn't listen to us. And yet, I am the body. See, friends, don't trust me. Observe your own experiences. In Mahabharata, there is one topic called as Sanat Sujatiya. There the teacher is Sanat Kumarji and the student is Dhritarashtra. And there the topic is, there is no death. And in the explanation, one verse comes, that verse has really touched my heart. That shloka is, Anyatha santamatmanam anyatha pratipadyate kim tena na krutam papam chorena atma apaharina. This is the question. We are essentially divine. Anyatha santamatmanam. Anyatha pratipadyate. But we take ourselves to be this wretched body, which is not created by us, which doesn't listen to us. When we occupy somebody's property under force, we are called as thieves or dacoits. It is not our property. The teacher says, Kim tena nakrutam papam? Can there be more sin than this? to consider ourselves to be body, and the teacher uses a very strong word, chorena atma apaharina. The thief of the highest order who has stolen somebody else's property and claims this is mine. Rent Control Act in India. See, friends, therefore, we have to get rid of this notion, I am this body. See, friends, then the question comes, okay, I agree, I am not this body. Then who am I? Yes, now start finding out. And then we are told, we are Jiva. Now here is another big hurdle for every seeker to cross. About Brahman, about the reality, we are told Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is Satchidananda, we are told. In the same way, we are told we are the Jiva. Now please define what is Jiva. As Brahman is defined, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. What is Jiva? We never inquire into it. It is here we are caught up in our own ignorance. Now be attentive. This will shake all your understanding. But this is the truth. That is why I told you this Panchadashi text. It will remove all the possible doubts human mind can entertain. Knowledge with doubts is called as ignorance. See, take an example. There are, let us say, 3 pots, 3 containers. And in one container, there is 2 liters of milk with 5% fat. Second container, 7 liters of milk with 3% fat. Third container, 10 liters of milk with 1% fat. If you mix all the 3 containers together, what will be the average percentage of fat in the milk sample? How we will start this example? Suppose the average fat percentage will be X%, is it not? And with that answer, suppose the average fat percentage in the collective sample will be X%, and you submit your answer book. Will we get marks? We have to establish the value of X, is it not? Now we are told we are not body, agreed. Then who we are? Jiva. And we accept. Find out what is Jiva. See, friends, in Shvetashvatar Upanishad, a lot of discussion comes on this topic. Bhagavad Gita tells this topic. Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha manashyashtanindrani prakritisthani karshati shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati ishvaraha gruhatvaitane sanyati vayurgandhani vashayan shrotram chakshusparshanam cha rasanam ghranameva cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudha nanupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Fools cannot comprehend this. Vimudha. Vimudha means those who have got doctorate in foolishness, educated illiterates. Vimudha. Specialized fools. Vimudha. When Bhagavan says, Mama eva amshaha jiva loke. Who is Paramatma? Paramatma is infinite. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, infinite. Be attentive. Infinite cannot be fractioned. You cannot divide infinite, nor can you multiply infinite. Then, in infinite, fractions are only imagined. Space is infinite. North, east, west, south, corners 8, and up and down 10. 10 directions are imagined in the space. And how this imagination is taken? Because of relationship between the sun and the earth. If you give up the conditioning of the earth, go away from earth to such an extent that the relationship between earth and the sun does not make any difference to you, then which is the east, which is the west, which is the south, which is the north? And the east that we decide, is it because of the east the sun rises in that direction, or because the sun rises in that direction it is called as the east? Think. Exactly the same way. Mamayamamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. I, the infinite, assume the form of the jiva. So as I is sanatana, similarly the jiva is also sanatana. Therefore, there is no fear of death even for the jiva, number one. Now this jiva is the topic introduced in our scriptures just to bring to our cognition that I is embodied and not the body. See friends, if I take out my glasses and put on the table, will the glasses be able to see you? No, because there are no eyes behind the glasses. So glasses are not seeing, eyes behind the glasses are seeing. Similarly, eyes are not seeing, the mind behind the eyes is seeing. Similarly, the mind is not seeing. There is somebody who is using the mind to see. Who is that body? Think, friends. So, utkramantam sitam vapi bhunjananva gunanvitam. Be attentive. In every experience, there are three components. Experienced object, experience of the object, experiencer of the object. Three of them. Now, experienced object is a flower. Knowledge of that object is, yes, this is a flower. And third, experiencer, I know this is a flower. Three things. But there is one factor which knows all the three. It is a flower is known, that it is a flower, this knowledge is known, and I know this is a flower, this knower is also known. See friends, therefore, who is this I? This I is the one worth inquiring in all our spiritual practice. If this I is not inquired into, we will be only struggling throughout life, leading nowhere. See friends. So now let us find out. Take one example which we started. In a bucket, there is a lot of water, and let us take 5-6 buckets are kept, and the sun is reflecting in them. Instead of going out in the sun, come inside the room. Take a big flat container. Take small bowls, katori, and keep water in one katori. How many reflections of the light will be? One reflection. Add another katori in the same big container, keep with the water. There will be second reflection. Then take the third katori, add water and keep. There will be 3 reflections. As you go on adding the containers, the number of reflections will go on increasing. Will it make any difference to the original light? No. Be attentive. Then, next time, keep on adding water in any one container to such an extent that all the containers get submerged. And there is one sheet of water above all the containers. How many reflections will be there? Only one reflection. Now the question is, can we say that the summation of n number of reflection is equal to that one reflection? Think. Exactly the same way. Paramatma expressing through the Panchakoshas is called as Jiva. And this Jiva is a phenomenon. It is Abhivyakti. It is not Vyakti. See? Infinite expressing through the limitations of the finite is called as Jiva. This is the rule. This is simple definition of Jiva. Now see, to understand it very simple way. Man is infinite. Conditioning wife. What that man is called as? Husband. So man is Paramatma, husband is Jiva. Now what is the difference between the Paramatma and Jivatma? Paramatma is happy, Jivatma is miserable. Man is happy. Think. Very simple, friends. Exactly the same way. This Jiva is expression of the infinite reality through the limitations of the Panchakoshas. Annamay, Pranamay, Manomay, Vijnanamay, Anandamay. Now be attentive. Out of these Panchakoshas, in the gross body, the absolute reality expresses as existence. In the Pranamaya Kosha, the absolute reality expresses as life. In the Manomaya Kosha, the same reality expresses as knowledge or instrument of knowledge. And in Vijnanamaya Kosha, the absolute reality reflects like the water reflects the bulb above it. That bulb will not be reflected on a cap or on a table or on a book, but it will be reflected only in the waters. In the same manner, consciousness reflecting in the Vijnanamaya Kosha is called as Chidabhasa. Now be attentive. Pure consciousness, the reflecting medium called as the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the reflection of the Paramatma called as Chidabhasa. These 3 things together constitute Jiva. Jiva cannot be without the pure consciousness. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Like the husband cannot be without a man. First he has to be a man, then only he can become husband. Think, friends. Be attentive. Man can live as a man without becoming a husband. But a husband cannot live without being a man. So man is Brahman, husband is reflection of that man, the Brahman, in the conditioning of wife called as the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And what is reflection? Reflection is husband. Be attentive. If the mind is disturbed, if Vijnanamaya Kosha is disturbed, reflection will be disturbed. See, if the Vijnanamaya Kosha is steady, firm in its resolution, then the jiva is steady. See, friends, then we come to know jiva is an appearance which appears but which doesn't exist. Then why they talk about going to hell and heaven, the last life, next life, this life? Only to bring to our cognition that we are someone other than the body and we are neither born nor die. That is the purpose. There are 6 problems that we suffer in life. Problem 2 with reference to gross body, jara, mrityu, 2 of them, old age and death. With reference to pranamaya kosha, ashana pipase, hunger and thirst. With reference to manomaya kosha, shoka mohau, the grief and the delusion. When we are living in these 3 levels, either identified with the body, or identified with the pranamaya kosha, or identified with the mind, then we are jiva, sufferer. Whole life will be spending only about security of the body, fulfilling the hunger and thirst, and getting carried away by the shoka moha. So our condition is like this. Be attentive. These 5 fingers are like the panchakoshas. The small finger is the gross body, annamaya kosha. This ring finger is the pranamaya kosha. The middle finger, biggest one, is the manomaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha is here where the jiva is born. Reflection of the Paramatma happens only in Vijnanamaya kosha. Now this Vijnanamaya kosha, this spurious eye, it has all the quality of the original Paramatma. It can illuminate everything, but it is a reflected light. It is not the original light. Now, this Paramatma appearing as Jivatma, when he gets identified with the Annamaya kosha, he starts thinking, I am man, I am woman, I am young, I am old. This Vijnanamaya kosha gets identified with the Pranamaya kosha, I am hungry, I am thirsty. This Vijnanamaya kosha gets identified with the Manomaya kosha, then I am happy, I am miserable, I am joyful, I am sorrowful. So when this Vijnanamaya kosha identified with the 3, Anandamaya kosha is left alone. Majority rules. He continues to be miserable throughout life. But when, by the Guru's grace, Vijnanamaya kosha separates from the 3 and surrenders at the feet of the Guru. This is the Jnana Mudra. Jnana Mudra is a definition of spiritual practice. Separate yourself from Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya kosha and surrender at the Anandamaya. Anandamaya is our Guru Maharaj, our Bhagavan. Then, to that extent, the Jiva Bhava will be slowly dissolving. And how do we know Jiva Bhava is dissolved? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 7, Bhagavan Sri Krishna defines God realization. There he says, Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayoho. He who is shita ushna sukha dukkheshu jitatmanaha, he who is not influenced by the pairs of complementary opposite, heat and cold, joy and sorrows, birth and death, friend and enemy, when these things do not influence his mind remains equanimous. And second thing, manapamanayoho prashantasya, he whose prashanti is never disturbed. Our prashanti is disturbed when we get respect, we start bloating. And when we don't get respect, we start squeezing ourselves. He who is neither elated nor depressed because of the respect or the disrespect, he is established. Paramatma samahitaha, he is established in the God. See, friends, therefore, the spiritual practice demands, first, we separate ourselves from the gross body, then we accept theoretically we are the jiva. When we accept theoretically we are jiva, then the fear of death, etc. will disappear. Then the next step comes, then what is this jiva? We inquire. Then we come to know jiva is a assembly of three factors. Paramatma, the reflecting medium, and the reflection in the reflecting medium. Now to understand this, take a day-to-day example. When we stand in front of the mirror, there is the reflection in the mirror. Now if we want to define the reflection, how we will define? Reflection is equal to the original face which is reflected plus the reflecting medium plus the reflection in the medium. Three things. Now out of these three things, suppose original face is taken away. Can there be reflection? No. Suppose the reflecting medium is taken away. Can there be original face? Yes. Original face will not disappear if you take away the mirror. Exactly the same way, when the gross body is dropped, when the pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya kosha are dropped, nothing happens to the original face. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo vedanitam guhayam parame vyomanna soshnute sarvan kaman saha. We never become Brahman. We are. We don't have to become. Man can become husband. Husband can never become man. The reason is, he is already a man. How can he again become? But he is not a husband. He can become husband. And who is miserable? Never the man, but the husband. Just think. If we apply this principle, I, the pure, conscious, blissful existence, like our Baba, is never miserable. But I, as a man, woman, husband, wife, brother, sister, officer, subordinate, always miserable. Therefore the rule is, somebody is always miserable and nobody is never miserable. So what should be the spiritual practice? Remain as nobody. And to remain as nobody, the first step is, do not talk about our own past. Never talk. Give it a try. Never talk. But you know what happens? Anybody talking on any topic, we take up that thread and we start. Suppose you decide, I don't have to talk. But you know, like the vomit, when it comes, you can't hold it. See, I was there also it happened. Now, who asked you? See, last time I went to Badrinath and some of the people were there, and opposite our Dharamshala where we stayed, there was one small shanty type of thing for a cup of tea. So they said, Swamiji, shall we take a cup of tea? I said, come, we'll take. So we 3-4 of us went and sat for a cup of tea. Now somebody unknown to me, they know me because on the TV they have been seeing a lot. So one person came. He said, oh Swamiji, how come you are here? I said, by default. Whatever it is. He said, actually, I am from such and such place. I have got 3 children and my wife is a teacher and this thing, that thing. And nobody asked you. He spoke for about half an hour and he said, okay, I'm in a hurry, I have to go. Who cares? Think, friends, 99% of our talk is uninvited. Uninvited. Nobody has asked us. This is how the mind survives. This topic I'll take tomorrow in more detail. Mind cannot survive if the mind is brought in the utter present. For its own survival, either the mind will go in the past, dig the grave, take out the dead bodies, or the mind will go in the future and try to solve those problems which do not exist. The main idea is mind doesn't want to remain in the present. If the mind comes in the utter present, mind is not a mind. Sri Krishna Narayana Govinda. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.